I'm proud. I'm proud because of Action Coach. I personally make a great living teaching and helping people learn the skills and actions needed to build great companies. My lifestyle has improved. I've traveled to Australia, Spain, China, and very soon to Indonesia, and I've increased my own net worth by over $500,000 in a very short period of time. I did it by guiding and directing business owners to leverage their business and to live happier lives. I've helped a client from being in bankruptcy and depression to being a leader of a very profitable company. I've encouraged a client to close down an office, and the results of that decision saved them $300,000 in cash. I've helped a client systemize their business to ready it for franchising, while at the same time allowing them to spend many, many hours with their kids enjoying horseback riding, boating, and traveling the world themselves. So I am proud. I am proud because what I teach transcends generations. Several clients have brought their teenage kids to sessions where they learn concepts that I didn't learn until I was 42 years old. Things like having ownership, accountability, and being responsible in every area of their lives. Knowing that what I teach is taught to others because of what I taught them is what makes me the proudest to be an Action Coach. We are changing the world at Action Coach, and I'm super proud to be a part of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Doug Winnie.
Thank you, Dylan.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome.
Hey, so before I let you up here,
Yes.
tell me what you're gonna tell us today.
So what I'm going to tell you guys today is at least 10 different tips on how to grow your business fast. Because what's amazing is that most business owners are so busy doing the work, they're not really thinking about how to grow the business so that they can start taking off these hats. Because the solo entrepreneur basically is so busy doing so many different things. And until they can grow the business, really grow the bottom line to invest back into some employees, they're always wearing all these hats. So I'm going to rattle off really quick at least 10 different strategies in a structured way so that people can start taking notes and then start taking action on what I'm going to teach today.
All right, get your pens and paper out. Give it once again for Doug Winnie. It's all yours, sir.
So, as the video said, I've been through many different challenges in growing businesses, including this one. So I started as an Action Coach, I guess 7 years ago, and I was coach number 1181 when I started. So 1181 in the franchise world, and even last month I was #1 in the world. And so when you think about that, out of 64 different countries, what the heck have I been doing? How do you do that? And so the question, it happens all the time, and so I was like, well, what is the real answer? And the answer is the entrepreneur spirit, which all of us have, right? So then what else? Because my parents had the entrepreneur spirit. My mom had a maid service business, my dad had a painting business, and as the video said, we kind of grew up a little bit poor. As a fact, as a teenager, I was shopping with my parents' welfare card and coupons. And so, thinking about the difference between their entrepreneur spirit and mine, it's the same. But what is it that I have done that they didn't? And their answer really is learn. Learn and then execute. Learn and take action. And so being an Action Coach, it was kind of like magic. It was like being really, understanding what I have to learn and then take action and then stop thinking. It's amazing what happens when we overthink. So kind of rattling off a few of the different strategies that I've used and I hope that you use to start growing your business. And the first one is about marketing. What's this thing we're doing right now? It's marketing. So think about social media. There was a question earlier about social media. Really, what is your target market? We always talk about the target is the most important thing. So thinking about your target, who is it? Is it a certain age group? Is it a gender? Is it someone's educated, has a home, doesn't have a home? What is the right target? And then understanding, where does those people hang out, right? So really get a good understanding. So maybe your target is social media. If you're going for the age group that is, 2 to maybe 20, You've got to be on all of those social media mechanisms. So what is your best marketing method? So inside of Action Coach, we teach what's called the 5 ways. The first one of the 5 ways is lead generation, also called as marketing. So 2 different tips for marketing. Number 1, website and SEO. That's number 1. So think of whatever your product is. Do people search for that product? Talk to Chris and understand really what's out there. How many people are searching for your product? Make sure you are found on the internet. It is the largest mechanism for marketing on the planet today. So take advantage of that. Website and SEO is number 1. Number 2, let's just call it networking. When you're going out and doing networking, how is it that you're meeting people? If you're getting there and you're chatting like Nolan and Chris did with Chris and Carlos just a few minutes ago, asking questions about the other person. That's how you network. You don't go out and say, "Hi, my name is," and you hand a business card and hope that they call you. No, that's not networking. Networking is going out, talking to people, learning about them, finding out how best you can help them. And when that happens, all of a sudden, they ask you for your card. So the second tip is make sure you go out networking and do everything you can for the others and see if you can get them to ask you for your business card. If you can do that, you get a gold star. Till then, just keep practicing. So now you're out there, you've got lots of leads. So those are 2 different strategies for marketing lead generation. So now what happens? Now we got to get into sales. How is it that we're going to turn the leads into customers? So a couple different tips on how to turn your leads into customers. Number 1 is, what about this thing called a guarantee? Can you guarantee your products and services? I bet you can. With all of the clients that we work with, we always come up with a guarantee within the first 6 weeks. Make sure you have a great guarantee. Even Action Coach, business coaching, which may be the most challenging thing in the world to do, that is getting you guys to do the work. What we do is we make sure you do the work. For example, we have a guarantee, our 17-week guarantee. We guarantee to find our fee in coaching, or coaching is free. We have a free guarantee. 17 weeks, we're going to find our fee. I know it works. Out of 220 clients, we've had 2 that haven't got it to work. So that's a little better than 99% success rate. So, what is your guarantee? What can you guarantee? Is that on your website? Is it in your marketing materials? Do you talk about it all the time? Make sure you have a guarantee that will decrease the fears to your customer for buying from you. So make sure you have a guarantee. So another tip on sales. I'll put 2 together. So USP, unique selling proposition. Why should they buy from you instead of somebody else? Of course, my USP is that I've been doing this 30 plus years. Growing businesses, growing my own businesses, that's part of my guarantee as well as my USP. I guarantee to find the work or find you the business because I've done the work before. So thinking of what your USP is, as Nolan worked with Chris and Carlos just a few minutes ago, determining what might be unique about you. I guarantee one uniqueness is going to be your personal story. If you think about a restaurant, you go to a restaurant and you look at the back of the menu, there's a little story there. Those stories are always interesting. That's what some of the things that makes them unique. Make sure you have a uniqueness. So USP, guarantee, 2 important things. And then I'll throw an extra in terms of sales. Make sure you have a script. Stick to the script. If you had a team of salespeople, wouldn't you want them using the script that you created? Of course you would. So let's make sure you have a script as well. So now you've got customers. You've got actually revenue. You've got leads. You've got customers. You've got revenue coming in. Now what is it? How about getting that customer to come back from you a couple different times? We call that number of transactions. How many times can a customer buy from you a year? So if we use Carlos and ASAP pet terms, what is it called? Pet. All solutions, all pests, right? How many times could somebody come and get their house exterminated? Probably 12 times. That's what I do. They come every single month because we're here in Houston, and then we have a lot of these little things that Nolan mentioned. Well, they're not that little. They're kind of large. And so, they come around all the time because they never die. So they just keep growing, right? And so I got a big pool and a big yard, and man, they're always there. So they got to come every month. That's 12 transactions a year. How many times can they buy from you? Really important thing to consider. One way to get them to buy from you more often is make sure they understand your entire list of services. What could they buy from you? If you happen to be a lawyer, right? Could you buy a will from them? Could you buy some contracts from them? Could you buy a review of a lease from them? There's lots of things that a lawyer can provide. So if you're a lawyer, make sure you're providing lots of different services. How do you describe those services? I'd recommend making sure you have a newsletter. Put out that newsletter to all your customers. Make sure they know what it is that they can buy from you. Now, another strategy for increasing number of transactions is pre-plan the next purchase. Right? So if you happen to be the lawyer, make sure you're planning to do the client's wills. I know I've got, I think, 4 client lawyers, right? And none of them really want to do the wills, but it's such a great opportunity for number of transactions. Make sure you have strategies for increasing number of transactions. Now, another thing in terms of growing your business, which is about growing your bottom line, consider, well, the average dollar sale. So here we are in this ridiculously high value networking group at one ridiculously low price of $100 per month. So here you are, and so think of, how to increase your average dollar sale. One way to increase your average dollar sale would be to up the price. So, yeah, up the price here, right? So, and why is that, right? It's because of the value provided, right? So a strategy I use, I raise my prices $100 at the first of the year every single year. So remember that, Nolan, remember that, Chris. So every single year, the price of my coaching services go up to $100 a month. Why is that? Because of the value provided. It's not about the cost. It's about the value. So think of what value do you provide? Is it worth more? If you did a competitive analysis of your competition, which is one of the things we do with every client that comes on board, what is it that they're charging for the same service? Pretty much all the time when customers come to us, they say, well, we're a little lower than our competition. To which I always ask, oh, well, I guess that's because your product isn't as good, your service isn't as good, you suck? Really? Is that what happens? No, of course not, right? So you're providing great value, charge a fair price. And so that would be a way to increase your average dollar sale. Another way to increase your average dollar sale, we've all experienced it, is bundling things together. So you can, put some things together. Let's say that you happen to be the web guy or guy doing social media marketing or pay-per-click marketing. You put a few things packaged together. All of a sudden, they're buying a little bit more. Your average dollar sale goes up. Hey, up again. Next thing you know, your bottom line goes up as well. So you can increase your average dollar sale by bundling things together, raising your prices, and really consider all of these little strategies will increase your bottom line. Now, down here to the 5th area of what we call the 5 ways, and that's your profit margins. So profit margins really are about understanding what is your gross profit margin. If you happen to sell something, maybe you're selling a stool or something like this, it costs some money to build the stool. Really? So think about what is the leftover. The leftover between the price that you sell it for minus the cost, that's your gross profit. Understand that your gross profit is your margins. So what is it in the margins that you might be able to improve? Well, one way to improve your margins, of course, would be to raise the price. Might also be to lower the cost. One way to lower the cost is buy in larger volume. So the small entrepreneur goes, well, I can't buy more volume. Well, then consider the other side of the equation. Raise the price. Really important to understand this concept. When you think about another way to increase the bottom line, might be one of our clients we started working with a few years ago, and he had a nice office, about 7 different offices, and he had 3 employees. And so I asked, what is it about this office? He said, well, we're hiring, and we're going to fill this, and we're growing, and all that good stuff. I said, well, fantastic. Well, how long have we been working on growing the business and filling the office? He said, 17 years. So I said, well, how long is this lease? And he said, well, the lease is for another 4 years. I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what. If we can fill it in 3 months, you can keep it. If we can't fill it in 3 months, then we need to sublease it. And his question to me was, what is sublease? And so teaching what is a sublease saved him $300,000. That increased his bottom line by $300,000 over 2 years. So just think of ways to cut costs. Don't waste money. Make sure you are investing properly. So here we are with at least a dozen strategies on how to grow your bottom line. Now, it's really important to know what to do with that extra money. Got quite a few clients that are all growing their bottom line profits, and they're buying more employees. Because now they can take off a particular hat. Maybe they can take off the marketing hat and outsource it to the Chris or Chris, right? Maybe they can hire some more salespeople so they can be more CEO. Maybe they'll start to hire more production people, maybe more lawyers, and go from a law office to a law firm. Or like myself, going from a coach to a coaching firm. So, think of all of the different strategies and which ones are you going to implement this quarter. Think of those exact strategies, put them into action, and grow your bottom line. So that's a couple different strategies on how to grow your business, and now I'll turn it back to Nolan.